Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Heretic Hammer Podcast. I am your host, Marshall, and this is my co-host, Dylan.
Hello, hello.
And we've done a disservice this month, Dylan. It's October. And you know what October is? Other than
the 10th month of the year.
I was gonna say, other than the fact also that technically, a week before this episode airs was Warhammer Day, which we also plainly ignored. But honestly, GW barely did anything for it either. So we're clearly not the worst in this day. But October, what does October sound like, Dylan?
I mean, there's a pretty big holiday coming up in a few days here.
That's right. And there's a holiday, in a way, this whole month is a holiday. GW couldn't even get this naming right, but you know, that would be, because that holiday would be Orktober.
Orktober.
Orktober. Or Waaghtober if you're freaking GW and you ignore the thing your community has called it for years. My favorite reasoning that they probably called it Waaghtober instead of Orktober is probably because they can't trademark Orktober.
I was going to say, that feels like one of those things where they're like, we can't do the obvious thing because the obvious thing has trademarks.
My
and
guess
also
is
the
opposite,
community
yeah.
can be like, hey, you stole that from us.
Yeah, right. You can't copyright the word orc anymore. So Waaghtober.
Now this is an important thing.
I don't
How
know
many
that it's
A's?
true, but
How many A's do they use in WOG? What's the trademarked
let's
number
see.
of A's?
Ooh, great question. Because that's what I don't know is truly like, is Wah and Waaghtober, like, are those truly copyrighted, or is this obviously just us memeing because GW is GW and their litigation team does not rest. But let me see. Let's see if I can find the article quickly here. I'll need to go back a few because it would have to go back kind of closer to the beginning of the month when they announced their special Waaghtober that they really have done very little orky things with, to be honest. Where are man? Been a lot of articles, and very few of them do I see a title card that says Waaghtober on it.
Did they at least introduce like a 12-foot tall Necron that I can put in my backyard? Or did they not?
Oh
even go
my
that far
god,
this year?
that is such an underutilized song. They need that. Why have they not made this? Can Joy Toy make it? Can they, like, I know they make like the.
That's the thing.
They're like I know they're like a foot or something like that. Like they're like the
I'm
size
sure
of
their
a
molds
Gundam.
are only so big. They have to work with the molds that they have.
But look, man, if they could make the big skeleton, then they could find a way to create a Necron version of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, look, it's gotta be something, right? Like, it's just perfect. That's an amazing idea. How have they not? I mean, I know why it doesn't exist, but come on. Now that I've heard the concept, now I want it. Oh man. Well, I can't find the article that even talked about Waaghtober, so if that is an implication to how little I guess they cared about the spelling of it, then I guess that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, fun note. to just continue dating this episode, there was a new trailer for Bolt Gun 2.
There was. I actually didn't see that.
Oh yes. Okay. Here we should hold on. Like I need to break the entire. I must break the entire thing so that we can watch it together. Let me know if you hear Peggy 18 when that goes.
Yeah, of course. I'll try not to say it myself like I usually do when I watch any British game videos.
Right.
It's like a stim. I heard it. Yeah, we're going. Yeah, point at him. Oh, wow.
We get to be a sister. Let's go.
Yeah. Sick.
Let's go.
Oh my God, the sword stabs. Yes.
Dude, she get some sick slides.
Oh, the train.
A melt-a-bomb.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother. Let's go.
26.
Hell yeah, let's
that
go.
Rules. That's exactly what I want. It's more bolt gun.
Yep. Just the way it is. The bolt gun.
That's what I'm about.
The way it is.
Yep.
Yes. However, first, back to orcs. That discussion.
And we now return you to your regularly scheduled orc.
All right, let me make sure. Let me get it so that you can see that again. All right. All right, so yes, Orktober. And so we talked about orcs a little bit, and I was sitting around, I was like, would this be a good time to talk about gas? And I was like, but like, I feel like, because like the big way to talk about Gazgul Thraka, is to talk about the second war for Armageddon and the third war for Armageddon, and then to just talk about Gaz himself. Like, I feel like that's one of those things where like maybe like next year we could do like a really big, like multiple episodes for Orktober thing, So I was like,
yeah, and if you're going to talk about Armageddon, yeah. If you're going to talk about Armageddon, you also got to make sure to include all of Bruce Willis's contributions in there too.
I'll be honest, when I think about Commander Yark, I kind of think of Bruce Willis, so I can't say it's entirely off, but today, instead, then I thought, let's talk about what you see in front of you, and let's talk about a little
Discord.
No, let's talk about a little bit of Ork Dakka.
Ork Dakka.
Not even just Ork Dakka, because I mean, man, dude,
Dakka is in.
I could have went really. I mean, we could have went to guns, to and melee and vehicles, and like all the things on top of those and whatever, and all the extra mech stuff. And I was like, I'm just gonna pick some solid favorites between at least guns and vehicles, and we're just gonna do a fun riff on some of those.
Sure.
Because
we're gonna have our own version of like the Westminster Dog Show, but it's just orc weaponry.
Yeah, I mean, and like I didn't include any melee weapons, honestly, because there's a good chunk of them, and I mean there are iconic ones, obviously.
Some of them literal chunks.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because you've got you have just like the choppa on its own, which is literally just like anything that is like an axe, a machete, like just something that, and then the chain choppa on top of that, which is then a chain version of any of those weapons. So like many of those seem normal, and then you get like you can get to like a couple of like this like very orky ones, like the the power claw, which is literally just like the clawed arm that like pinches in on itself, and various versions of that, like a snag claw, where it literally is the claw, but it shoots out like a harpoon, and you can get over here
as it should,
scorpion your way over. And there's
I hear nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's so many other weird things. So I was like, and there's so many crazy vehicles and other ranged weapons that like this could go on for hours. So I was like, I'm just going to condense it. I'm going to do just some guns, because some of the guns to me are some of the funniest things, and talk about a bunch of vehicles, because I love orc vehicles. They're just so amazingly unique in all of the best ways. And I love that. I love that with them.
I love that for them.
I love it for them. Absolutely. I love that for them. So one of the first ones I want to talk about, which is technically visible in this image now, which is the Ork Def Gun.
Def Gun.
Def Gun.
Is that spelt? Hold on. I want to attempt to spell these. Yeah. So DEFGUNN.
So close.
So close.
Drop an N, add an F.
DEFF. Yeah.
GUN.
That makes sense.
The gun only we're keeping its one N. But so these are the heavy weapons of the orc, because orcs have their shooters, right? Which is, anything from just like a pistol, as small, like your standard auto gun that like, that Imperial like troops, or I don't want to say citizenry, but because like I have a guess that there's limitations on some weaponry for a number of general Imperial citizenry. Because that's how you stop insurrections. But anyway, those are your standard ones, and then you can get a big shooter, which would be something maybe like a little like some type of mini chain gun, or like an assault rifle. Like the shooter would be kind of like something more akin to like a submachine gun, where then like the big shooter would be the like full on assault rifle.
Yeah.
And then they could even get to a looted Umi bolter, which is just a bolt gun, but they looted it from a big Umi.
Makes sense.
But then you've got your def guns, which are specifically made, which many of these things are going to be made by a big or a mech or big mech, which the mech or a mech boy is a class of quote unquote odd boys, which they themselves are essentially just orcs who just even through their DNA have essentially assigned themselves, felt themselves pushed towards a role. So, you can get to, a weird boy, which are the ones who, are psychic. You have your mech boy, who is a mechanic, engineer, creator of horrible things.
Okay.
And then, is it medic boy, orc doctor, right? To varying degrees of success of doing that. So you have your mech boys, which are, yes. So they have just this genetic gift for engineering and building. Thus they build all of the amazing orc weaponry, basically all the amazing orc weaponry that we will talk about today. Right. So def guns can vary, So seeing here, you could definitely see two plasma def guns. So effectively they have taken plasma guns and plasma weaponry and just have orcified it to become even more devastating. And if you recall, plasma guns are pretty unstable as it is, right? I mean, if you recall from like bolt gun, right? If you shoot a plasma gun and it overheats, it damages you, right?
Yes.
So just times that by 2 in terms of instability, and you've got the plasma def gun.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got even more of that. So you've got the beamy def gun, which is it.
Oh, what is that?
So this is a scavenged las cannon. So if you recall, those are like, you take your las gun and you just multiply it, you just increase its size to, be better against armor targets. And the orc mech boy has taken it and just been like, here you go. Put this around your shoulder so you can see there's they put some nice padding in there, I mean the padding's worn out, wear and tear.
A little bit of memory foam.
Like, it's got some nice padding.
Got that Serta cover.
Yeah, fits all around your arm, goes right around your shoulder there, and you just blast it. And just
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
So we know from previous discussions that the orcs have very specific beliefs about different colors. So like painting their vehicles certain colors will change their properties. Did we cover at any point the like checkerboard pattern and what that does for the orcs? Are they just really into like second and third wave ska, or like what is like?
My belief in that is yes, and if enough of us believe it, it will be true. But
okay, so they could be like Jeff Rosenstock stands, and we just don't know.
Yeah, the real answer to that, to me, I think though, is there is at some point in GW's history, there was clearly somebody who was just really into the checkerboard pattern. I mean, because you can look at the Lamenters and their checkerboard shoulder pauldron, and Harlequins with their checkerboard main design for pants, because you can look at a lot of Harlequin variants and they don't have the checkerboards, but the one they decided has to be the one that goes on the box was the checkerboard one.
It was the checkerboard one,
which is honestly partly why people probably didn't go for them, because Harlequins being possibly the best faction of the Eldar, and yet now they're relegated to the status they are because nobody bought them.
Yeah, they're just skanking in the corner because nobody wants to hang.
Oh my God, if anybody's skanking, it's the Harlequins.
Yeah, of course.
But I think orcs could also skank. I mean, is this kind of like one of those, like one of the concepts, is that like if you're like really low to the ground, that could like help you be a better crip walker. Is that true for skanking? Could you?
It could be.
If you're lower, if your center of mass is lower, does that actually help be a better?
That or like the inherent bassiness in the voice of the orcs makes it a lot easier for them to go pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, like when they need to. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Dude, I want to see. I need to see. I need it. GW, I need the orc ska band.
We need ska orcs, and
except it has to be spelled SKAAAGH. The orc ska. But yeah, so these are generally worn by Ludas because how else are you going to get things to make more def guns, which are generally made from looted guns, than giving it to more Ludas. They do also, I mean, many of these do end up going on to other, can go on vehicles. A Warktober, which is just a version of an orc helicopter, but it's like a bigger one.
Sure.
These will be mounted on them. But yeah, so def gun is not explicitly like one flavor. Like it's not just like this gun fires one round of blah blah blah. Def gun's a full category, It's like how there's the bolt gun, and then like there's the main bolt gun and Astartes bolt gun, the heavy bolt gun. The def gun is of many flavors. This will be a quick one though. This is going to be the Squig launcher. I'm going to give you one guess to tell me what you think the squig launcher is.
Squid or squig?
Squig.
Squig. I think it launches squigs. That's going to be my guess.
That would be correct. It launches, obviously, though, a variety of squigs, because squigs are not just one flavor. Squigs have many uses. In fact, in the amazing free-to-play game Speed Freaks, this vehicle that you're seeing here at the moment, which we'll talk about when we get to vehicles, but I just wanted to include it in the guns part as well, because technically you could just walk around with a squig launcher. In fact, the orc in the top right image is just that's not a mounted squig launcher. He is just holding a squig launcher and is like standing up and shooting it. But for example, they can shoot both, your explosive squigs, but then also some healing squigs.
Oh,
because squigs are kind of, if you recall,
they got a Lucio on their team.
Yeah, well, if you kind of recall, the squigs are kind of a MacGuffin for orcs. They can kind of be whatever.
And they don't have many of those, so it's good that they have the squigs.
Well, they do have plenty of squigs, though. Yeah, because, for example, if you ever see an orc with hair, I don't remember if we talked about this, but if you ever see an orc with hair, that's not hair that grew out of its head. That's a hair squig.
Oh.
Yeah, that is a squig that they have essentially stuck inside of their head, and that squig has hair, and thus now they have hair.
Wow, I hate it. Thanks.
Well, that, I should then note, for another great orc game for people to play, in Blood Shooters and Teeth, that's literally the basis of the plot. You have a hair squig, you're about to go to war, your war boss picks you up and is like, I want that hair squig. Give it to me. And he steals your hair squig, chucks you off the chopper or the chopter or whatever, the helicopter. And you then go on essentially on a plot of revenge to go kill your war boss and get your hair squig back. And the whole game happens in conjunction to that.
See, here I thought you were going to introduce me to like an orc fashion dreamer game that I wasn't aware of.
Oh, God, there needs to be one. What's the
Roblox runway?
Yeah, I was
game?
just saying, what is it called on Roblox? There's a second joke there. We're gonna move on from that one though.
I can't remember. Oh, I can't remember.
I can't remember either. Despite I've talked about it multiple times in a real conversation sometimes, but I can't remember it. Anyway, let's talk about stick bombs. They're grenades. They can stick. They could not. Sometimes it depends. I really wanted to talk about them though, because sure, they've got, your normal stick bomb. They have a crack stick bomb. They have a stun. They have a stink stick bomb.
Well, of
which,
course.
should you know, is made from a cultured fungus. Which should make sense given that all the orcs are fungus.
Well, it's respectable at least.
Well, and all the orcs are fungus, so it makes sense.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about
that. They're
that.
not just fun guy because they're fun guys.
There
are some. I really wanted to get into the thing I wanted you to see was the fact that there is a stick bomb microphone.
Yes,
which is pictured on the bottom
really
there.
Ties into the ska motif for sure.
Here's the thing, right? This is why I was saying this would work so well, because they have goth rockers who use their belief in music to amplify the power of their discography through these microphones.
There's a clan. There's like a clan called the Goth Clan, right?
Not just goth. I think it was goth something. I can't remember. I don't definitely. Okay. But the goth rockers are specifically a group, or there is a goth rock band.
Okay.
Which is a generally group. Honestly, it could be more than 3, but I think you generally see them as a group of 3 orcs. I think when they used to have minis, they were like a squad of 3, which I mean, like, I didn't put this in the slideshow and I really should have, but it'll be on screen. Look at these fucking guys.
Yeah, that's some real Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem type stuff right there.
That is just some
no
classic
drummer
80s Ork. If you see them in the trailer for Blood Shooters and Teeth, they do have a drummer. It depends on the goth rock group, the gothic rock group. But yeah, they play music like gothic rock, and I should note, gothic rock band, the rock is spelled R-O-K, but the genre of music is rock, R-O-C-K. Just so you're clear.
Of course it is, because genre purists, they got to make sure that everything is neat and tidy and fits into these boxes that they've made for themselves. They're on Ork Rate Your Music, insisting that their latest album was a 3.5 and nothing above that. And
Ork FM. So they could get their scrobbles. They kept the scrobbles. That was orky enough of a phrase.
Yeah, that was already an affront to the English language. They were like, we'll keep that.
Affront to the English language.
We'll co-opt that. We'll make it our own.
But see, because while all orcs enjoy loud noises, having a goth rock group just traveling, especially with the war boss, just really magnifies and pushes that wah energy, and it can get the orcs ready for that good grumping. And it actually will even prevent Psyker's powers from being effectively used against them.
Mm-hmm.
They could literally, a goth rock group, and because here's the thing, some of the, I will note, because the psychic aspect of the wah used to be kind of different. It used to be in this realm where the wah could be so powerful that it would cause a librarian to go insane, or other psychers to literally almost become orcified. And that's kind of been dialed back since, even honestly, not terribly long ago. I think one of the last times in a book that it showed up like that was the War of the Beast series, which was I guess it's a while ago now, but if I remember, the War of the Beast was 2013 or 14. So in a sense, a while ago, but in the grand scheme of 40k, not that long ago, right? Comparing it to being war from the 80s or lore from the 80s, but yeah, so they're just, just real funny. Just love. So yeah, he has a stick bomb that he's turned into a microphone. But also, I wouldn't be surprised if I were to find out that they could still chuck their microphone and it would explode. I just wouldn't find that surprising. It's kind of a semi-expected thing, to be honest, for me. But otherwise, speaking of things that explode, we've got the bomb squig.
Oh, yeah.
So we talked about squigs, and if you've played Space Marine 1, you recall these things being sometimes the most annoying things on the planet.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Because nothing better than just taking a squig, chucking a bunch of explosives in it, and in some cases even maybe putting a wheel on it,
mm-hmm.
and just going to town.
It's good to see some Spy Kids 3D representation.
I mean,
it really is.
And obviously, even then means snotlings can definitely make their ride upon it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's otherwise pretty self-explanatory. They explode as they charge at you.
You hear that, Games Workshop? We don't need you to explain it. You can focus on other things. We don't need in-depth lore on
No.
these guys.
No, poo on that. If I had,
You can give us some other stuff.
if I was reading an orc book and there was honestly even a whole chapter dedicated to like the POV of a bomb squig, I would fucking read the shit out of that. I mean, granted, orc books lately have been pretty awesome, but
it's got to be written with the like cadence and sincerity of like All Quiet on the Western Front.
I don't know how Mike Brooks has like written those, but I mean, everybody is. I've only ever heard that like those books are amazing, and I really do want to read the Big Dakka just because. Is the Big Dakka? Hold on, let me double check that I'm thinking of the right. Yes, I do really want to read the Big Dakka because, it's like also apparently simultaneously an amazing Dark Eldar book. It's like one of those where it's like slightly disguised by like it's like slightly disguised of a like amazing like this. It's a great orc book, but it's also kind of disguised as an amazing Dark Eldar book. So I do actually, I would really love to do that. One of the big selling points was honestly when he was working with the characters, like the main orc characters working with the Dark Eldar, they at some point made him like three times the size, and it made him really, really smart for like that portion of the book. And then like he shrinks down and just becomes the original intelligence he was. And the main character is a mech boy. So like it's in a way he's got like some sense of it, like some sense of like and like ingenuity already. It's like I can only wonder how that went, you know? But you'll see where we're going to see in the next point, there is a mech boy. But there's something important about this mech boy. There'll actually be a mech boy in the next two pictures here, because we're going to talk about the Teleport Blaster.
Teleport Blaster.
Yes. The
and
Teleport.
That is, of course, spelt TELLYPOOR. And blasters, of course, spelled BLEUGHSTER.
No, Blasta is BLASTA.
Okay.
And teleport was
Dumb,
almost right, but
okay.
it is just PORT.
Teleport. Okay, the T is silent. Got it.
Well, maybe just my T isn't enunciated well enough for you.
Okay.
The Teleport Blaster.
I just like the idea of them, like the weird, just like suddenly being like teleport.
Well, they have like, the orcs have that like football hooligan English accent, right? So they'd be like,
yeah, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough.
So you could kind of drop the T. But this often is integrated into the armor of the mega armor, of big mechs. And man, if this couldn't just be somewhat self-explanatory as it is, so it will fold its target in a warp space bubble, and it will displace it at random. So generally, victims generally only end up going a short distance. But like the idea is that the mech will rematerialize them in the air, maybe in the line of fire, or, inside a solid object. So,
Mm-hmm.
So essentially it is just the gun to be like, I'm putting you here now. into the wall with you.
Yeah.
Or God, like you teleport them to be in the like they be part of the wheel of like a tank or something, or like a heavy machinery. What horrible things! But the teleport blast, there's an iteration on it, if you will, and that's the shock attack gun. And this kind of takes that, the idea of like the teleporting and all that. And you may be looking at this and being like, why does it look like he's sucking up this snotling into this vacuum tube? And then why does it have this like whirring jet turbine electro Tesla thing around it? And that would be because this gun it takes these snotlings, they gather them up, because to be fair, because other orcs would never agree to being fired in it. Gretchen have enough brains to avoid it, so snotlings are just brainless enough to be able to be around the orc mech enough to end up getting sucked in.
Oh, okay.
And thus they are fired out of the gun through, essentially by doing so, creates a narrow force field through the warp and will take through the portal, which will look like small spitting black holes. And these snotlings will enter through that portion of the warp. So the thing is, while they are maybe protected from like being killed in the warp through this force field, they are not immune from witnessing the warp, and thus,
right, which is still a problem.
Yeah, scares the shit out of the snotlings so badly that when they exit the portal, they are in a terrible frenzy and ripping and tearing everything that they encounter, and thus the mech will aim them directly on top of enemy soldiers, so that when they emerge from inside living creatures in the enemy ranks or inside of tanks, so that they essentially will just kind of be like, the gremlin and tearing apart all the machinery from the inside upon exiting. And then, eventually just, the snotling either is killed or goes so insane that it just dies because their brains do not, they can't take the insanity for forever, Obviously this thing is well known for misfiring, which may cause the tunnel to implode. So which will kill the snotling. It just crushes it, it's an implosion, right? It can also explode, leaving a crackling orb of unreality in its place, or literally continue to spin out of control, which will make the snotlings explode in a spray of bloody gore and open a hole to the warp itself, which thus sentient demonic ichor will gush out into the mortal realm, or results in various warp shenanigans making their way through. So it's pretty unpredictable, but damn, do some big mechs just love using it.
Yeah.
It's just, it's just a great meme, when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting into the kind of narrowing it down into some of our guns here. We have the Bubble Chukka. It's called the Bubble Chukka. I want you to guess what it does.
No, first I got to guess how it's spelled. So this is going to be, this is Bubble.
Okay.
Chu. KKA.
He's done it.
Nice.
He's done it.
Nice.
He's thinking
Hell
like an
yeah.
orc.
I'm locking in. I'm getting tuned into their frequency.
The IQ is going down.
It's increasing rapidly with every
The
word.
power of belief is going up. Soon he will paint his car so he will get to work sooner.
My dreams of being a doctor, never gonna happen.
But your dreams of being an orc med boy.
My dreams of
Going up.
being a Dakka.
Oh.
Oh.
But yes, please tell me your guess at what you think the bubble chukka does.
Oh, it works like a super soaker. So it's got you can see there's like the two different cables, the tubes that are kind of feeding into the main artillery unit. So what it is that they have different liquids that they pour into that, and then they can change the firing mode depending on which liquid they want to shoot out. So the one on the left, that is the ice glacier blue Gatorade, and then the one on the right is Mike's hard lemonade. And they decide which one they want to just like shoot out at people.
Oh, just fire that into my mouth. Let's go.
They are a huge hit at tailgating parties.
Oh my God, would they? No, unfortunately, it is very much the kind of as the name implies. It fires force bubbles.
Oh, thank God.
So there will literally be bubbles on the battlefield. However, they, as a bubble would, explode on impact. However, these are force bubbles. And thus, there will be, they will explode with like a literal, like the explosion will be not like a fiery explosion, but just like
there's an impact wave.
Yeah, exactly. However, what's funny is the way that they work is, of course, incredibly unpredictable. There will be large bubbles that will hit with like negligible strength. It will literally feel like the wind passed by from like this, like a 6-foot bubble. However, there will be just like this tiny soap bubble, and it will have the impact of a melt-a-bomb. Like it will look like a soap bubble. You may not even notice it, and then suddenly just
the noisy cricket.
Yeah. Otherwise, there could be just a giant bubble that does literally explode, to a mushroom cloud. It's not like a specific, rhyme or reason. It's just however it filled.
Coughing baby versus hydrogen wah. I got it.
And then a final gun I would like to talk about is the gaze of Mork.
Ally.
Gaze unto Mork. So these are specifically generally the eye gun on an Ork Stampa, which we'll kind of talk about the Stampa a little bit later too, because I can't talk about vehicles without talking about the Stampa. But in its gun, I wanted to talk about that it would just, it has a specific, zap gun, which means it is some form of laser gun, right? If you can guess by what a zap gun would do. And yes, before you guess, it is spelled ZZAP. And
all right.
Yeah. However, similarly as well, this is a beam that could melt a bane blade with its first shot and fail to kill a single guardsman with the second one. And anything in between. Such is the way of the orc gun. It just it could completely eradicate a Titan in one go and just do nothing in the next one. It is so just so in the middle of everything. And thus is honestly the way of the Stampa in some regards. this in some regards, like in the game, the tabletop as well. The Stampa is, it's not a crazy amount of points, and as we kind of showed, it's $160, so it's not like, compared to other Titanic units in 40k, it's not the worst either economically.
Yeah.
Especially because, it's a big kit. Like it's the size of a Titan. So like it's $160 kind of makes some sense.
Can I use it as a popcorn bucket?
You know what? I'm sure someone's tried. I'm sure someone has.
I'm just saying, because I'm tired of, spending hundreds of dollars on these crazy AMC popcorn buckets, and I feel like this is the perfect substitute for that.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like if the Henry Cavill Warhammer cinematic universe, right?
Bro, he's gonna go hard with those buckets.
Yes. Yeah. Well, so like it's obviously gonna start just on I think it's just gonna start on Amazon Prime. But if it gets to the point where we can get a movie and it's an orc movie, bro, there's got to be a Stampa bucket. I mean, first, like we'll eat out of Horus's head. Sure, fine. Then but let's make sure we get to the Stampa bucket. It just prints money. People.
The whatchamacallit starts with an E. The one that's like
a Space Marine, or
no, I'll have to look it up later.
Oh, well, I'm not sure. Like
it's the giant, not a Space Marine per se. I'm blanking on the name of it. You see one of them in Space Marine 2. But it's the gigantic mech body, but it has like the remnants of...
Oh, the Dreadnought.
The Dreadnought, that's what I'm thinking of. But instead of having somebody inside of it, it's popcorn in it.
With the Leviathan Dreadnought, these just like the old school Dreadnoughts where you can kind of, where the head's there, that'd be perfect for the popcorn to be like hole to be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of things that could end up, let's get into vehicles proper, right? And I definitely wanted to talk about a number of the vehicles that are featured in Speed Freaks, because it's a great game. It's a free game. It's got the content of a free game, which means that it's not a lot of content, but it's free. So who cares? It's still fun. And let's start off with the Megatrack Scrapjet.
Yeah.
Which, if you couldn't guess by the centerpiece of the vehicle, it is straight up just an orc plane that has crashed and has now been converted into a land vehicle.
Perfect. No notes.
Yep. They come from when a mech or Enterprise in Death Skulls, they get to the wreck of an orc warcraft and just are like, time to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
I can make this engine run, slap some wheels on it. We got a gun. The guns are already on it. Let's go.
Yeah.
And thus, these are very well utilized by not only Speed Freaks, but flyboys who have maybe survived a crash, or one way or the other have been stuck on the ground. And they do utilize rocket propelled engines, and utilize their impressive firepower with a rocket cannon, as well as two twin big shooters, which are on the front there. And the thing on the left of the scrapjet there, that's the rocket cannon. Which is essentially just effectively a rocket launcher, but like it's kind of like the mix between like a rocket launcher and like because it does shoot like a rocket, but like if you used it's kind of like a big cannon as well. Like it's kind of like a tank shooting something,
Mm-hmm.
where it just kind of is like that solid, just like, but it's not like the rocket will move about or fly around. There are other guns that do that in other vehicles that we'll talk about. But this, I would say, honestly, is kind of like the most basic for your just like speed freak, the like speed freak, vehicle, right? Like it's one of technically there are more basic, right? I mean, they have just like buggies, and they have a war trike, which is literally just like a 3-wheeled go-kart effectively, but sure. Like from like the 4-wheeled vehicle, right? Like for something where it's just like, I want to go fast, but still be deadly. This is like a strong baseline. And then, one way or the other, everything else has some extra something. Which, speaking of having an extra something, let's move on to the Shock Jump Dragster.
Oh,
which, man,
I like that.
I love this. I love this vehicle.
That's good.
It is so good. So obviously it is well armored. It's got a really fast, as showcased by having big rear wheels and skinny front wheels. And some good aero. However, to be fair, I was gonna say it also does have, rocket launches, great for just like anti-vehicle stuff. But what's really important about it is that it can open micro warp rifts, and will essentially utilize that shock attack gun tech, utilize itself to teleport kind of itself effectively, which in Speed Freaks, when you use this, effectively you disappear into the warp for a bit, and you're driving around essentially still on the map you're on, but it's like all warpy and futzy. And then we'll drop, and it will be somewhere else. So it's kind of utilizing, like, it's going into like, it's kind of like when you use like ethereal walk or, misty step in D&D, where you're like technically teleporting into the material or the, what's it called? The ethereal plane for a moment. This is like that, but instead it's the warp. So, it's a little bit of hell travel. What's a little bit of hell travel?
What's a little bit of hell travel between friends,
Yeah. And we'll similarly utilize launching a squig through kind of the shock attack method, and sending those squigs into whatever victims that they decided to point them at. And, it's also just a really fast vehicle. And I love it. It's just great.
Yeah, I love it too. Great design.
Let's get into also that where the squig launcher came in on the Rucka Truck Squig Buggy. And
the who to what to what now?
The Rucka Truck Squig Buggy. An amazing feat of Ork engineering. So you just take a good buggy, right? Like a big 4-wheeler, good for all terrain. You'll launch, and you just load up a bunch of squigs in the back, and you just start throwing them out there. Whether it be through a squig launcher, whether it be a mounted squig launcher, one carried by a guy in the back, just the dude in the passenger seat, just chucking them free will, And, they, a lot of times, you'll get like a few types of squigs. You can get your bitey squig, which, if you couldn't guess, are really good at biting. Where they'll just, and like specifically to the point that they will just latch on and just like never let go.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They do launch some bile squigs. So I will note there's going to be a bit of like a shift between the game Speed Freaks and the tabletop. So in the tabletop, they specifically just fire bitey, bile, and boom squigs, where I believe in 40k or in Speed Freaks specifically, it's really just for them. It's healing squigs, like health squigs, and boom squigs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think in a way, maybe the bitey squigs are kind of the main gun one. Like it's like a light, because there's like a light one, there's like a landmine squig, and then there's the healing one. But otherwise on the tabletop, they'll shoot your bitey bile, which will just do like necrotic, icky disease, fungal disease spreading. And then boom squigs, which, go boom. But I love the Ruckachuck Squig Buggy. I love using it in Speed Freaks. I've had some of my best games with it. Because, like, I love using the shock jump dragster in it, to be fair. Like, it's really fun to play this in the game, but it's really easy to get killed.
Yeah,
yeah. Because it doesn't have a lot of armor, so, like, it's really easy to get yourself killed. But it's great for being just fast, right? And then getting, like, an explosive to your opposing enemy stomper. But I love using the Ruckachuck Squig Buggy because it's great. It's honestly just great, all purpose, heal your allies, lay a bunch of landmines to blow somebody else up, and just does good damage. It's a great all-rounder. We love it. However, one of the best named vehicles that we will have on this list in the Boom Dakka Snaz Wagon. I love the name of this vehicle.
Snaz Wagon?
The Boom Dakka Snaz Wagon.
Love the color scheme.
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, it could be whatever you want it to be. But, the blue, always a great touch.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, this is, built in hastily welded scrap armor. And you know what? They just kind of, one way or the other, Snaz wagons are just kind of meant to look like these kind of shambling, kind of big carts and like, all terrain, kind of like a warthog, if you will, But you'll see instead of having that second passenger, they just have a really big gun. And nothing will stop the driver from chucking out his own Molotov. Ready to make some bacon? Lit Molotov cocktail. Yeah. However, they move incredibly fast because they essentially will just constantly, like, drivers of a Snaz wagon are effectively in the mentality of just all gas, no brakes. Thus, anybody on the crew must hold on for dear life. However, they utilize a primary weapon of a Gatling gun known as the Mech Special, which, just meant to be a good, just covering fire. However, they are popularly, thus with the Molotov, popularly driven by speed crazed burner boys.
Okay, yeah.
And, do what they do best, which is just while driving, launch some fire. Whether, this just be, a burner bottle, or maybe they'll have a little flamer in their hands. But I mean, the burner bottles are definitely some of the most popular, because you could just stuff the bottles into every conceivable, like anything that can carry something, so all the cup holders all over the glove compartment. If it can hold something, it's got burner bottles in it.
Yeah.
Which, if you wanted to know, is bottles filled with squig oil, promethium, and anything else the orcs can think that will catch fire.
Yeah, just anything flammable. Just shove it in there. Yep.
This will be really fast, but I just wanted you to see it. There's something called the Grot track bike, which the image of it is so small I literally could not fit it.
That's
to be
fast.
Full screen. It's not about this thing being fast.
Okay.
It's quite not. It's just the fact that it's literally built from the track of a chimera.
Well, here's my thing. It's that it's a tread. It's not two tread. It is a single tread taken off of the chimera.
That they just like find a way to balance with this side monopod.
This is some like Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts shit. Like,
yeah.
Why build the whole vehicle when you can just build part of the vehicle and then make that the vehicle?
But Gretchen that's the thing, right? Gretchen are only just dumber than orcs. So orcs are already pretty dumb in some regards, some would say. Others would disagree, but Gretchen are dumber than orcs. So, I mean, one way or the other, they're still pretty intuitive, but, they make this.
Yeah.
However, more importantly, of things that the Gretchen specifically love, or grots, if you will, specifically truly love, and that is the Grot Mega Tank. Similarly, just a loving favorite of mine in Speed Freaks. And these are Gretchen heavy tanks.
Yeah.
Which, are just really well armored. They effectively are like these tank boats, if you will. They look as they do. However, outside of just being the pinnacle of Gretchen tank technology, some of the best parts are specifically some of the weapons. And they'll have a dozer blade, so these two heavy turrets that you see kind of in the front and back. Make sure you cover all sections.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have scorches, rocket launchers, mega blastas. They even might have a wrecking ball on them. So just walk around the field with a wrecking ball and just go. But more importantly, you can get yourself a Grotzuka. And now you may wonder, is that just kind of like a bazooka with a rocket launcher? And you'd be right. But what's really common for that to see upon the firing of a Grotzuka, and you will also see in the hit game Speed Freaks, that would be a Gretchen riding the rocket launched from the Grotzuka as they pilot it towards their enemies.
Yeah.
To not only their impending doom, but the doom of their enemies as well. I forget like the movie, but like that movie where the dude rides the missile like down into Earth, and it's been parodied 100 times. It's that. Yeah. It's essentially that.
Yeah,
they literally do that.
Love type thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they absolutely do that, where they're just like, yeehaw.
Yep. How I learned to stop worrying and love the Wog. You're just giving me titles here, man.
Yeah, truly. I've never seen Doctor Strangelove, actually.
Oh, it's so good, but this isn't a movie podcast, but it's so good.
Just never, just kind of never been at a point to be like, here, watch this movie.
It's one of those weird ones where it's like, a really good movie, but it's also not a like, all right, I got some free time on a Friday night, I'll sit back and watch. Like it's
sure.
Nah, not quite.
Yeah. Honestly, just one of my favorite designed vehicles, but doesn't need a whole lot of extra explanation. But that would be the Kill Rig, and in some regard, also the Hunter Rig.
I love it.
Yep. So these
I love
are obviously
the white and red. I love the spikes, all the red spikes. I love the complete disregard for balance, where it's just like we're putting as many orcs on this thing as possible.
Hey, it's got 2 wheels.
And that's all it needs, apparently. It just needs 2 wheels.
Like, I'm not willing to state that this thing doesn't topple over sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to specifically note the kill rig here. The hunter rig is very similar, but it's essentially a hunter rig is just a kill rig without the whir boy on top. So the whir boy there on top is essentially just so I should start from the jump. This is commonly used by beast snaggers and beastmen orcs who love to take, these are specifically called trampless squigs.
Oh.
But also just essentially what are effectively like versions of squigosaurs, which are just the more beefier dinosaur-like squigs. And they definitely come from like the orcs who maybe were plucked from the ground without much technology, a little bit more cave-any orcs. However, so the kill rigs, however, can be used by a great many of them. You can find, you could still find Dakka on them. But the kill rig itself is piloted, or at least carrying a whir boy who will amplify Waaagh energy through a contraption known as the Whir Tower that is riding there. Very Mad Max, if you will,
I'm just so mad right now.
Why?
I'm so mad. I shouldn't even be, I'm just so mad. Like that this was somebody's job to sit down and like write this bull. Like, oh yeah, no, we'll call them like trampless squigs. And like, of course, because they're part of the squigosaurs. And we'll write that down on the whiteboard. And, like, it just makes me angry about like every hardship I've had in my life. That I've never had a moment where I could just sit down and say bullshit like that and then have somebody be like, that's good and we'll pay you money for it so you can afford your groceries this week.
Yeah.
I took a bus several blocks to get like with like a 10-pound bag of dog food for my family's dogs. And I would do that like multiple times a month. And these guys are sitting in like leather chairs, reclined back going, what if we called them squigosaurs because they're like dinosaurs, but they're not exactly dinosaurs? Like, screw you guys, honestly.
Truly a dream.
Why do we even do this? Why are we doing any of this? This is so dumb. I could come up with this stuff in a single afternoon if you just gave me like a pot of coffee and a dream, okay?
Some ADD medications so that the other voices can stop and I can learn to imagine again.
Yeah. God. Squigosaurs, fuck you.
Oh man, we'll talk about those someday.
What do you mean we'll talk about those? How is there more to talk about? They're the squigosaurs from the planet Squigatron, and they were hit by a meteor, and the meteor caused them to become squiga extinct for 50 million years.
Well, I was going to say, not explicitly.
All right, I'll take my check.
But other squigs, like the squig shark.
Yes, the Squigmon and Squigazard, available now at your local trading card store.
And the vampire squig.
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
collect your Neopets, get the limited edition squig. I hate you. Fuck you, Games Workshop.
Pain boys. That's the medical boy. It's a pain.
This is the final episode of this podcast. I'm done. I'm fed up.
I'm over. Orc
it started out fun and then it became unfun because it made me think about myself.
It became existential. Well, this isn't going to make
fear
you feel
was in the
better.
mind of the squig holder.
Okay, well, this next one isn't going to make you feel better because those people that these people that thought of the kill rig. Oh, by the way, it just like I said, it just becomes a hunter rig when they just get rid of the whir boy. It's essentially though otherwise the same thing. Like weapon wise, which is just like here's a bunch of like we have these extra lances that utilize like that will like have like shock weapons and like this launcher. The Evi Laba, one would call it.
Uh-huh.
No, it's not making it better. But so technically these are canon. Obviously, in the sense that we have seen them in media, we don't. They're not often, because there's not crazy enough. It's not common for orcs to invade planets with water and try to do war on that water. But sometimes they do have to do that, and thus they need warships, and thus they have the ship smasher.
No.
Which I should note, these people have in fact, yes, had a collaboration with World of Warships.
I was gonna say, because that's just an actual warship.
It is. I mean, it looks like this is an accurate representation of orc naval ships. There are technically other ones that also are just boats. They're just, a little orky looking, but like.
Yeah, but with these other, with the Dakka and the vehicles and the doohickeys and all that, right? You've been showing me, in some cases, it's like close to a real life analog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for the most part, you can also see the kind of creativity of like they're really just kind of stacking stuff and throwing it together and working with
look
parts.
At all the panels there.
This is just a USS Port Royale painted in red.
Well, look at the diesel exhaust ports and like all the patchwork on them.
Yeah, and I'm sure that runs on like squig ethanol that's currently at an all-time high right now due to squig tariffs. Like I get it, but that's just a warship. That's nothing.
Well, yeah. And I mean, honestly, part of the way that they didn't go as extreme on it was.
This is amazing. Oh my God. First off, I am peaking my audio like crazy. But second of all, it hasn't occurred to me to ask this.
Oh, sure.
And now I get to ask this.
Oh, yeah.
There's water in the world of Warhammer 40k, right?
Yeah, there are planets that have water.
There's
on
like
them.
Oceans and stuff like that.
Yeah, not on Terra, but on plenty of other planets.
Not on Terra.
Yeah, well, see, after like the fall, like when they went into the, what's it called? I forgot what, like the old
the
night.
Age of Sigmar? I don't know.
No. The one like after, the like peak humanity, they conquered the stars, and then the AI revolt happened with the Men of Iron, and then the
Age of Enlightenment?
Happened. No. That caught off. It was called Old Night, but
Old Night. Okay.
Yeah. So in that period when essentially Earth just became gigantic because, all of that crazy weapons were still here. So a bunch of warlords took it over and then just like basically, I mean, honestly, even probably fighting the AI partly like created this like nuked planet shit. But like they're essentially just like the world was blasted by so much like horrible war and like nuclear weaponry effectively that it not only got to like Fallout levels of bad and waste, but even so much that literally all the water disappeared as well, basically. The only thing of water that kind of mainly exists was like various pockets of groundwater, and which was still tainted, but there. And obviously water that then just got eventually transported. Effectively, the oceans were eliminated.
I can see where they made their mistake. I can. What they should have done is they should have just dropped a space colony on Australia. And then there would still be water even after the fact.
I'm sure, honestly, there were some space colonies that did, in fact, drop on Australia during that. But, yes, so Terra doesn't have water, but plenty of other planets sure do. And thus, there are actually some planets who are just water. And they
Water World.
Yeah, and when they've
Kevin
been
Costner.
colonized, they just utilized like the lifted like sea cities essentially.
And then they do like really impressive like water shows where they're like doing like action stunts, jumping off of the ships and everything, and like
I'm sure the orcs
fights.
do that. I'm willing to believe the orcs do that. I will note though that a good note is actually Planet Lair. That was a mostly water planet. Yeah. However, yes, I should note also. Well, I don't know Lair's status
I haven't been keeping tabs on it. I'm not keeping track of what
it hasn't come up. I mean, look, most of these planets that the Imperium took over got fucking ruined by the Mechanicus. So, really, really hard to say.
This orc is to scale, right? By the way,
I want to believe so. I wanted to make the note with this though that by getting, I don't think it's available anymore. I think this was like a timed thing, like a couple years ago. Just lame, but like when they made when they had the 40k World of Warships collab, it was they had the Orc one, Imperium, and Chaos. So obviously the thing is in World of Warships, there's like essentially a captain narrator that will speak when you like do stuff. It'll be like fire the whatever. There's an Orc one.
Great.
And it'll just be like fire the torpedoes.
Perfect.
And yeah, it's amazing. Let's get into some aircraft here quick. I just wanted to talk about one specifically because most of them kind of look like this.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the Dakka jet.
Yeah. See, and this is messed up because we're really getting into the point where it's just like, this is just World War II vehicles that are just being copy pasted into this game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's honestly a lot of the design for a lot. I mean, the Imperial Guard's armor is very like World War II kind of, that's obviously that mix of like World War II and like Starship Troopers, but like, it's they have a lot of that design language in 40k in general. There's a lot of World War II like inspiration. 1 and 2, to be honest. I mean, look at the Krieg; they're very World War One.
Well, and also Britain was involved in both of those.
Yeah, weird how that.
Games Workshop is like, yeah, y'all are not gonna forget that like Dunkirk happened. We're not gonna let you forget that. You need to remember.
But yes, so they a Dakka jet, which unfortunately is the main thing for one of the worst games in 40k history, and Flyboys, but they are obviously just they're propelled by one massive engine, as you can see is also what is very clearly when you look at it the center of that Megatrack scrapjet. Like it's very clear that this is the middle of that, but I mean, they're just utilizing just heavy amounts of turbo and engine propulsion to just get up in the air, and they're filled with plenty of Dakka, most of them kind of just like specifically pieces of just like I would say like, I mean, decent sized Dakkas, but like not like crazy for the main ones. There are obviously different variants then that go into crazier shooters and having more and more, but like the only thing that they kind of all variate. I mean, like for example, there's like the turbo Dakka jet, which specifically then has been rebuilt to just include essentially just a big beefier engine to go faster. Sometimes they'll create them into like a biplane and just create, and thus also include more shooters on top of that. Oh, this was meant to be earlier, but it's not. Okay, well, obviously it is what it is. This is a battle wagon. This is essentially like your Space Marine Rhino, your basic transport in some regards. I say that because nothing is basic about the orcs. But the fun part I wanted to note about it is obviously that they can be built in such like a crazy way. They're great for just, you can turn anything into a battle wagon if you really wanted to, as long as it feels like it clearly has a big opening that could fill lots of orcs, Gretchen, snotlings, and squigs, or shiny things that belong to the mob. They are equipped with obviously a good number of things. So a big cannon, they'll have a zap gun, a lava, but specifically the thing I wanted to talk about is that it will have a lift-a-droppa. Can you guess on this picture what the lift-a-droppa is?
It is the giant crane mechanism on the right that lift things up and drop things down.
That is absolutely correct.
Yes.
It is also commonly can be called the Hand of Gork.
I am thrilled because in my mind I was auto completing it to Hand of God, and then the real answer was close enough for me.
Yeah, the ones that'll be on something like these bandwagons will often not be categorized like that, but like when they're like this, they'll be a little bit more like ones that are like truly a Hand of Gork, have like really big multiple claws and are very like good for the not only just gripping but then obviously pinching and just crushing something. However, they are obviously utilized to clear scrap, grab them, demolish buildings, and just pick things up and squish them, which an important thing to do as an orc. But I want to somewhat quickly, we talked about them a little bit in the main episode. I just wanted to do a little bit of revisiting here with the next two, technically three. And I want to talk about quickly the Gorkanaut and the Morkanaut.
Yeah, I remember these guys.
Yeah, these are like the knight-sized orc mechs. And the Gorkanaut, obviously built as an effigy to the orc god Gork, who, need I remind you, is the god that is, I've misplaced my note on this and I've forgotten. No, which one are you? No, I don't want Grok. I do love, though, the image that has popped up since the Grok meme has existed, which is at Gork, is this true?
Oh, yeah.
So the Gorkanaut, thus with that, you can see the Gorkanaut has the gigantic many multiple Gatling gun, just like Gatling gun upon Gatling gun. Oh no, I was wrong. Sorry. So Gorkanaut is the brutal but cunning, and Mork is cunning but brutal. And that's why this one has the big claw. I guess they both have big claws. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it.
Okay, fine.
But it's so honestly, I will note fantasy, I think does a better job of creating more of that distinction, where with 40k, they kind of just went, but yeah, so the Gorkanaut is that big essentially like Gatling gun within a Gatling gun. It's called the Deathstorm Mega Shooter, and he has the Claw of Gork. And thus being able to, it will be piloted by a knob, which is essentially like a very big orc, and will kind of just piloted into battle with them. The pilot often though is an outcast from their tribe, and will just kind of, well, they like when they get outcasted, they will turn to the building this giant mech, and will often stomp on their former settlement as a way of revenge. And then Mork, or the Morkanaut, is piloted by a mech boy who will then take it and will push it into battle. Similarly, the pilots are often outcasts who have joined the Great Waaagh. But these ones will go towards like the Great Waaagh, so like something that would be led by Gazgul or a freebooter warband. And often these ones go for like looking for technological secrets. And this is equipped with the custom mega cannon, which with compared to the other one, slightly less obvious, but is essentially just a bigger version of the custom Mega Blasta, which is, I know we're just really going deeper and deeper. But essentially it's just like one way made by various things, but is just like will literally like create a just pure focused blast of energy that will vaporize a target even through Terminator armor. You know, which is obviously thus makes it very weird and prone to overheating, but does a lot of range and does have an oversized power claw known as the Claw of Mork, and with a couple rocket launches and extra big shooters to boot, because, you know, why not? Except its eye does have a special custom Mega Blasta in it, compared to the Gorkanaut, which has just kind of normal orky looking eyes. All right, and then finally, I want to get into the anatomy of a Stampa. So, I'm going to shrink ourselves here a little bit.
What in the Hieronymus Bosch am I looking at?
What a great question. So, at the top, you will have your flyboy there. There at the very, very top, essentially kind of in the scouter's box. You can kind of see it in the right image all the way at the top there. Then you'll have your sharpshooter, which you may think, oh, it's a sniper. No, they're just kind of standing on the top and are just kind of a fluky and will fire a rocket launcher. Standard practice is to screw their eyes closed and just stick their tongue out and pull the trigger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. So number 3, you've got your gun boss. This is an orc who are directing the line of fire of the main guns. But you know, they often get carried away and feel the need to loose off some Dakka of their own. Then number 4 on the, you know, by the head, you've got the boss. The first mate of the Stampa's owner takes control when the war boss wants to get stuck in firsthand, which is a lot of the time. So they will pilot and direct everybody working here. Then at 5 near the top, you've got your, they're just cut off on the image here. Sorry. But they're your super rockets. So these are those similar from the Grot tank. These are big rockets that are taken by Grot pilots or Gretchen pilots, who will ride along with the rocket and essentially pilot it while riding it.
Oh, good.
Yep. Then, of course, though, you need your Grot riggers who need, you know, cover the menial task of loading the weaponry and making sure that they, you know, are ready to fire at a moment's notice. Then for weapon number 7, you've got a Super Gatler, which has the highest rate of fire of any work weapon, hence is considered a must by all self-respecting Stampa owners. Just pure Dakka at the fastest and constant regard. Then at 8, you have got your Get 'em Grot. They're up by the head there, just to the left. And this Grot is in charge of giving the all clear signal to the super rocket pilots, who obviously need to know when they're able to fire. They sometimes even wait sometimes though, the Get 'em Grot will wait until the engines are really all clear, just for a change of pace.
Just to mix it up.
All right, so next we're going to go down the inside here. So on that top left of the Stampa, you've got your Death Cannon crew. These are Grots who are responsible for the smooth running of the Stampa's main armament.
Smooth like orcs. Yep.
Yes. If the shell ever gets stuck in the breach, the smallest Grot is given a burning rag and sent to retrieve it, usually with entertaining results.
Yeah.
Then in 10, you've got your control center on the top right there, where it is the control. The Grots get to pull the levers, and the competition to get here is quite fierce. But they will use a system of shouting tubes to help the Grots relay messages over the deafening racket that goes along everywhere else. Of course, though, with like any good vessel, you need the brig in 11, which is where Grots who are stupid enough to get caught misbehaving are often locked in the brig for various things, like mixing the mech's oil can with his squig beer, or breaking wind into the shouting tubes when the war boss has his ear pressed close.
Okay.
Next, you'll have number 12, where you've got the Barney bits. This is the heart of the Stampa, the engine there, where Grots will constantly feed the furnace with scraps, body parts, and just dirty fuel.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, as it states though, it's not uncommon for mechs to place bets on how many Grots accidentally fall into the furnace over the course of a battle.
Accidentally?
Yeah.
Something tells me not all of those are accidents.
I don't know, but for the bets, maybe those don't count,
Yeah.
Next up, though, then you've got the engine cogs. Obviously, these are just cogs, but these are more like cogs. Mechs like cogs because cogs have teeth, and Grots like cogs too because they sometimes grind the slow and unlucky into interesting shapes. Then they've got 14 with your conveying belt. Obviously, these will help bring the scrap and distribute ammunition to the rest of the Stampa.
Yeah.
Then at 15, around where 15 is, you'll find your boss mech. So he's up in the middle there by the heart, making sure that all those Grots do their job. And they're usually responsible for the creation of the Stampa. And I just whacked my microphone. And we'll make sure that everything is working properly. In 16, thus, though, you will find the murder ports. This leads to the exterior of the Stampa, which is various portions of the Stampa will have these murder ports, and these are obviously just great so that Grots can get in some close range Dakka, or they themselves get killed through the port. Next, then you'll have your Grot oilers near the bottom, and obviously they must make sure that they grind and stamp their feet so that they have the Stampa has plenty of grease. Because 18, to be sure, though, has the drops. So nervous Grots tend to produce a lot more than just excited chatter. A visit to the drops is a calculated risk, for they often play host to infamous face eater Squig and its smaller but no less terrifying cousin, the brown surprise.
Great.
And then 19, thus you'll find the belly hold, which is a dangerous and deafeningly loud and smells worse than the snake bites loincloth. No wonder it's popular with orcs hoping to hitch a ride. Essentially just like the main random spacings of the Stampa. And then finally, as you can see very clearly, is the Titan Chain Fist, which is a big, choppy, close combat weapon, which is a regular feature, allowing it to carve its way through anything.
Yeah.
And thus is the anatomy of a Stampa. I saw this image. I was like, I've got to include this. We've got to go over this big list of things that make a Stampa a Stampa.
If we went back in time by several years and we popped open Bagger 288 Would we see something similar to this inside of there?
Oh, what?
You don't remember Bagger 288? Bagger 288?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh no, I picked a meme that was too old. I went too ancient with my reference. It is an enormous like excavator machine.
Thing. Yeah, I see this thing. Yeah, well, I guess I never looked at this as a meme. I just know people would watch videos of this because they're like, hell
well,
yeah.
There's a particular video with a song that was written about the Bagger 288 that is ingrained in my mind forever because I'm a weirdo. I have a second question.
Yes.
That is brought up by this, and I feel like I'm not expecting a definitive answer on this, but if no one has asked this before, I'll be mad. I can hear that. When you have a vehicle like this, where there's actually a ton of them inside of the vehicle.
Yeah.
Does it give any benefit for them to paint the interior the same way that they paint the exterior?
Other than just good lookings, I imagine not really.
No? Okay. I wasn't sure if you could like double up on the speed or the invisibility by painting the inside in addition to the outside.
Well, I think anything that helps an orc kind of get their juices flowing, if you will. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean, anything that I think can kind of drive an orc to really like push their mental state, their like everything that they know of.
Mm-hmm.
I think definitely doesn't hurt. But that's it for the remainder of the orc vehicles that I got for you.
Correct. When you show me something like this, my expectation is that you're going to be like, and frankly, that's all I've got. I can't top this thing. We're not going to, nobody's slapping a World of Tanks logo on this.
Oh, please.
Like this is the pinnacle of orc ingenuity that we're looking at right here.
Please Stompa in War of Tanks or World of Tanks. At least the Gorkanaut and Morkanaut. I mean, they'd be like way overpowered, but it'd be funny.
Screw that. I want them in Once Upon a Katamari.
That'll give you a big build.
Like the second you start playing with it, you literally just like flop it over on its side and then just start rolling.
I think a Stompa would roll pretty good. They look pretty round.
Yeah.
All right, but that's going to do it for all these. Any particular weapon or vehicle that was your favorite?
Don't do this. Look, man, I liked the cars even though they had similarities to the real life cars. Yeah, I like the racing vehicles the most. They're very cool. They're extremely cool. They still have that orc energy to them. We're not going to talk about the warship. I've said my piece on the warship. Yeah, the racing vehicles are sick. But
yes.
I will say never talk to me about Squigs ever again.
I mean, I cannot promise you. I cannot fulfill that promise. I'm sorry. But because Squigs are inherently the best part of orcs to me. So I cannot fulfill that promise.
Squigs are like, they've got like the Smurf thing going on where it's like there's a squig for every job and every occasion. And I'm like, y'all built this in a cave with scraps? This is what you came up with and you got paid how many millions of dollars to do it?
But they're so good. I mean, look,
William Blake was defining the existence of God while Thomas Paine sat a few chairs over sipping coffee. And no one recognized him until years and years after his death. And y'all are over here like, well, we got to call it the Squig shooter because it shoots squigs. You're right. Here's your pension and health insurance. Like, the audacity, okay? It's the audacity that gets me.
Please. It's the Squig launcher.
That's today's episode, everybody. Thank you all for listening.
But next, I mean, look, you can fantasy gets like Squig like Squigosaur like things, and then from that we've got the amazing if this would freaking pace, my God. Godrak, the Fist of Gork, and his little cabbage dinosaur that he rides.
Yeah, that's great. That's neat. I'd fight him in Monster Hunter.
All right. Well, we'll let that go. We will speak of them again, though.
Looking forward to it.
All right. We'll see you guys next week for some Gundam action.
And some tears.
Yeah.
It's going to be a sad one.
Yeah.
So
long.
Squig bye.